People think a haunted house is just creaky floors and shadows. They're wrong. What we found that night wasn't a haunting. It was a predator. And once it decides you're inside its walls, escape is not an option.
We weren't ghost hunters. We weren't thrill seekers. We were just bored 20-year-olds with too much night and too little sense. The idea came from Mason, the loudest one in the group and the one who hid his fear behind jokes. He slammed his phone on the table in our apartment and said, "Guys, the Holloway House, the one from those police reports? Let's go." I didn't want to go, but Ava looked at me with that dare me expression she always had, and Kieran shrugged, meaning, we're doing this whether you like it or not. The Holloway House stood 20 miles outside town, swallowed by forest and rumor. Missing persons cases, screams heard by hikers, lights moving inside, even though no electricity ran through it. It was the kind of urban legend we were supposed to outgrow. But that night, we needed a story. Instead, we found something waiting for us. The moment we reached the property, the forest went dead, silent. Not quiet, dead. Like everything living knew to stay away. The house was enormous. 3 floors, rotting siding, and windows black like they weren't reflecting darkness, but absorbing it. I felt watched before we even stepped out of the car. Ava whispered, "Why does it look like it's leaning toward us?" She wasn't wrong. The whole structure seemed to tilt forward, as if listening. Kieran tested the porch with a boot. The wood didn't creak. That was the first bad sign. Old wood should creak. Mason pushed past us and yanked open the front door. It wasn't locked. Another bad sign. Inside, the air was stale and humid. The smell of old wood mixed with something metallic, like dried blood, but sweeter.
We explored anyway. Humans are stupid like that. The staircase curved up into darkness. Paintings lined the walls. Portraits of the Holloway family, but eyes scratched out violently. The scratches weren't old. They were fresh. Ava kept recording on her phone, even though there was no signal. "If I die, at least TikTok gets the footage," she joked. It didn't land. Nothing landed in that house. We heard movement upstairs, slow footsteps, pacing. Mason whispered, "Probably raccoons." He didn't believe that. When we entered the dining room, everything changed. A long wooden table, 12 chairs, all facing the wrong direction. Instead of toward the table, every chair faced the door we had just walked through, as if expecting us. Kieran froze. "Guys, the chairs weren't like this when we walked in." He was right. The chairs had shifted silently. The house was rearranging itself while we were inside. A whisper moved through the walls. Not in the room, in the walls. A voice. Not male, not female, not human. It said just one word. Stay. We should have run. We didn't. Because the basement door opened softly on its own. A long staircase descended into pitch darkness. No sound came from below. No smell. Nothing. Just a void waiting for us. Ava aimed her phone flashlight. "Something's moving down there." We all saw it. A shape at the bottom of the stairs. unmoving, tall, skin pale and stretched, face blurred like it wasn't finished forming. Then it turned its head, not naturally, but like a photo glitching. We backed away slowly. The basement door closed, then locked. The lock slid by itself. We ran upstairs. Bad choice. The second-floor hallways stretched impossibly long, longer than the house exterior allowed. Doors on each side creaked open as we passed, inviting or warning. I couldn't tell. We reached the master bedroom at the end of the hall. Inside was a massive mirror, but our reflections were wrong. Ava's reflection stood still, even though she moved. Kieran's reflection smiled, even though he didn't. Mason's reflection looked behind him, even though nothing was there. My reflection wasn't me. It was me, but older, bruised, terrified, whispering with cracked lips, "Don't leave this room. It's waiting in the hallway." The lights flickered. We heard it approaching. Thump, thump, thump. Heavy footsteps dragging something sharp along the wall. Mason closed the door quietly. We held our breath. The footsteps stopped right outside. Then, a voice, whispering through the crack under the door. Perfect imitation of my own voice. "Let me in." The mirror began to ripple like liquid. Ava grabbed my arm. "Ethan, it's pulling us in." Our reflections were reaching out, hands pressing from inside the mirror's surface. Mason got too close. Something grabbed him. His reflection, or the thing pretending to be it, latched its hands around his wrist and pulled with unnatural strength. We grabbed Mason and pulled back, screaming. His skin started to tear. The lights went out. In total darkness, Mason vanished, pulled inside. The mirror went still. Mason's reflection stared at us. But Mason was gone. We fled the room, knowing the hallway thing was coming. But when we stepped into the hall, we were downstairs again, back in the entryway. The house had looped us. Every exit led back to the start. Doors led to hallways that led to the same rooms we'd already been in. Ava screamed when she saw something behind me. It was Mason, but not Mason. Pale, face stretched, eyes black, grinning too wide. He spoke in a voice, glitching like broken audio. "You shouldn't have pulled." He charged. We ran. We slammed into the dining room again, but now the table was set. Plates, forks, knives dripping red. At each chair sat a version of us. Copies. Slumped. Dead. Faces rotted. Ava gagged. Kieran stumbled back. The house whispered again. "Eid." All the corpses turned toward us at the same time. We ran. We ended up at the basement door again. This time, It didn't wait. It opened violently, and a hand grabbed my ankle, pulling me down. Ava and Kieran grabbed me. We fell together, sliding down the stairs into complete darkness. When we hit the bottom, the basement lit up with dim yellow bulbs. The room was filled with hundreds of scratched-out portraits. Every portrait showed the Holloway family, then us, then hundreds of strangers, then empty frames, waiting to be filled. The creature stepped out of the shadows, tall, shifting, skin like wet paper. No face, just a smooth surface that pulsed. A mouth slowly tore open across its featureless face. Join. Ava fainted. Kieran charged it with a pipe. It grabbed his face. He went silent instantly, like his soul was removed. It dropped his body. He wasn't breathing. I grabbed Ava and sprinted up the stairs. Something chased behind. Massive, scraping, fast. We reached the top. No door, just a wall. The house had sealed us inside. I slammed my fist against the wood. It didn't move. Behind us, the creature rose up the stairs, body breaking and reforming as it climbed. It grabbed Ava. She screamed my name, then disappeared into the darkness. I was alone. I pressed my back to the wall. The creature reached out for me. Then, the wall cracked open behind me, and I fell through it into the forest. The house spat me out, because it doesn't kill everyone. It keeps one alive. To tell the story, to lure more.
I didn't escape. Not really. I've felt it following me ever since. Every reflection. Every dark corner. And if you're hearing this, the house knows your name now. And it's waiting.